Speaking
And
of that crazy game, let's jump right in. Let's go right in. We started a
all right,
little
let's
late
do it.
tonight. LSU, Florida State. Okay. At times it was ugly. For large stretches, it was ugly, but at times it was everything we love about college football. I'm literally just going to read off to you the sequence of events that happened in the last 2 minutes of last night's game in case you didn't see it. Finally, LSU gets a stop, a muffed punt, a fumble at the 1 yard line with a minute left in the game, a 99-yard drive, of course, a lengthy replay review, a game-tying touchdown as time expires, and ultimately a blocked extra point attempt that was to tie the game, to send it into overtime. You could argue that's the game of the year. Week 1, it's done. It has happened. A lot of crazy shit did happen, though. Felder, let's go to you first. Was this the wildest, most exhilarating part of week 1 for you?
No, here's the crazy part. It wasn't. I put it at number 3.
Okay.
Because I watched UNC App State. And I don't know if you guys watched that game, but they were going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Their game ended up, 63-61. Missed 2 point for App State when they had a 2 point in the bag two times before. So I'm going to go with that one as maybe the craziest pace. I think the best game of week 1 was Utah and Florida. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I'll save my thoughts on that. But this one to me goes at 3, and then we can throw Ohio State and Notre Dame in there at 4. Ohio State, Notre Dame, tremendous game. A game we don't have to spend that much time on. I know they've already talked about it. But it was a game where we saw we saw Ohio State's defense really. That's what the last 3 quarters is what they're supposed to be, and if they're going to be that for the rest of the year, watch out. But to get into the Florida State LSU game, the big thing for me watching that game was, and we talked about it a week ago. When's the last time we saw Florida State do what they're supposed to do, right? In the Duquesne game. We hadn't seen them do that in a while. And then when's the last time we saw them show up on a big stage against the team that everybody expected just to roll them? And then they showed up, and then they did it. And the Verse kid can play, and he's good, and he blocks a field goal. He gets a couple sacks, does some tackles for loss. So I honestly, and George, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it looked like watching them every time they panned to the sidelines to show Brian Kelly. And I know you're a big Brian Kelly fan. It looked like he was like, "Oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be."
I think the difficulty level probably reflects the fact that this is their first game. There are no preseason games of college football. You don't get to have a team-on-team scrimmage. He just met these guys in January. You get time to look, enough barbecues and bowling deals and weightlifting sessions and all that stuff. Let's go put this in the water against normally a perennial power. You can say what you want about Florida State, but you can go in there and find 5 stars walking around that locker room. They're no upstart. That's more of a sleeping giant that's kind of wobbling and starting to stand back up. So he just got a brand new quarterback, and there's probably newness all around. And they found themselves they're on the mat for the first 3 quarters.
Yes.
Start to kind of get into a rhythm.
They stood up.
Coaching brought them on that 99-yard drive. First of all, you're talking tactical decisions. Okay, we have 99 yards. We have a couple minutes to get all the way down there. We got to tie this thing. There is no field goal. They get that done. You're talking about formations, motions. Who do we going to attack on defense? We got to anticipate when they bring pressure. We got to throw screens and draws. When do we take our home run shots? All with this, new quarterback that's never run this system, and we've never coached them in a game, and they get that done. They get all the way down there. And then, yes, you're right. Going back to Greg's point, they're faulty on the left side of the protection of the kicking game, which, mind you, right now, tonight, across the country, special teams meetings have never been more in tune, ever. And I bet you that's also true for the NFL. And they ain't even played. There's high school coaches that are like, wait. We've been in here, messing around and bullshitting on all this special team stuff. Meetings have been going 5 minutes or now 20 minutes. Yeah. Walkthroughs that have just been a sheer passing of time are now critical. You're talking about LSU, 99 yards. They get the touchdown, and they merely needed a PAT, but that's not a given. So
yeah, ask ECU about that.
Correct. That reset everybody's thinking, but I think they're in a good place. I like where LSU's at, and they went 12 rounds, and then the glue came undone. But still 12 rounds.
It wasn't a KO. This is not a KO. It was a TKO, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
George, let me ask you this. So, because it wasn't just the block kicks, right? They had the block field goal attempt and the extra point. They also had 2 muffed punts. They also had, I believe it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at a critical moment on the kickoff. Knowing all of that, right? And you've got all this momentum from a 99-yard drive that was just pinpoint beauty from Jaden Daniels from start to finish. Would you have gone for 2 if you're Brian Kelly, George?
No, because you got to have some level of expectation. We got to be able to hit an extra point. Damn, we done did all this extra work. We got to be able to hit an extra point. And given all those things you said, blocked extra point, blocked field goal, penalties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. First game under new management now. We've all seen those little malls. Felder, you got those little malls in your town. Some store says under new management. This is game 1, and we went up against an opposite equal. How many teams this week went up against an opposite equal? I would rather have those charges against me as a head coach and a staff than, damn, Florida State ran for 400 yards against LSU, or LSU only ran for 45 yards against Florida State. I don't want that. They battled in between the trenches. You only scored 6 points, or you gave up 38 points. That wasn't the case either. Playing ball, which, yes, it's all encompassing, but they've shown that they can make big plays and stop plays and trade blows and do all those things. But now they got to go back, which everybody does, and they get a chance to kind of accentuate those smaller aspects that can absolutely become killers. But I'd rather have the problems they have than the problems that could be.
So we knew pre-game, really preseason, right? This was a very big year for Mike Norvell. We talked about it in the ACC season preview. This is a pivotal year, not to put a guy's job on the line, but like a swing game like that can really have major implications down the line, pending what happens later on this season. Now, I'm interested to ask you this, Felder, because you mentioned this in your first monologue about this game, but to me, it sort of felt like there was a lot of this game that was controlled by Florida State, right? I think time of possession, they won that battle. The second half, it seemed like they had 3 very long, sustained drives that led to scores. I think 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the second half. They were playing the game on their terms to me. Now, all that said, they still almost coughed it up. And I found it really interesting because immediately after the game, in the midst of the celebration, Norvell is asked, they stick the microphone in his face. And the question he was asked was, last year, this is a game you guys lose. This year, you didn't. What was it? And he alluded to this is a culture that they're building. This is where if something goes wrong, last year we let that beat us. This year we didn't. We still had a play to fight for. And I got to be completely honest, I'm kind of rolling my eyes at that because their inability to execute down the stretch and get saved by such a miracle. Yes, they won that play, but I'm kind of rolling my eyes at the fact that Florida State won this game as opposed to it fell into their lap. Am I right or wrong for that?
No, I mean, have you seen Florida State the last 5 years?
Has been pretty. I
mean, this is a game that they wouldn't just lose this game. They would have lost this game spectacularly. Am I wrong, George?
No. Go.
They would have lost this game in spectacular. They would have been in the game. Who cares what happens at the end of the game? They would have just been trying to get to the end. They would have been like, can we run the clock? Because I want to go home. And now this is a Florida. They are building on a culture, right? They're trading in a space where, hey, we're like right now. This is about speed to get to where we want to be. And I think that LSU is in that mix. I think Florida State's in that mix. I think Miami's in that mix. All 3 teams. Florida's in that mix as well. Tennessee's in that mix. But these are teams that have had, and Virginia Tech's in that mix too. But these are teams in, like, we're talking about new coaches or Norvell in year 3. Florida State, you better outpace the teams that have a first-year coach. You better outpace them, because if you can't outpace them right now, if they catch up to you when you have a head start, they're going to start running past you. That's the part for me. That's what I mean with that. They're starting to do what they're supposed to do. But if you let these teams catch up to you, they might outrun you. And if they outrun you, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be back out on the corner shopping for a new coach.
Yep. I agree. The biggest piece there, like, you can't help but cheer for a program so desperately clawing to get back to where it was, not just relevance. Florida State, for the younger viewers out there, and thank you for watching Felder 12 After Dark, Florida State had an 11-year run where they finished the season top 4. Heisman trophies, national championships. They were the behemoth. And then they may have come down off of wearing a crown on top of a crown. They came down to just wearing a singular crown, but they still were a killer. Then they completely submerged. Post Jimbo Fisher, Jameis Winston, they really lost their footing. And then, like, it's just like watching a battleship starting to take on water. They're starting to come back out, but that's what you want. We've been for so long waiting on the Miami Hurricanes come back to relevance. USC, they didn't play a big-time opponent, waiting for them to come back to relevance. Nebraska still out there in the wilderness. Virginia Tech got beat by Old Dominion. Like, these are proud, big-time, established monsters. But, you know, such as wildlife. Some of these dinosaurs die out and they don't come back. And some of them just are able to revive, you know, they're able to escape extinction and then they come roaring back. So it's good. It's great for college football to have Florida State back. But also now watch this. LSU is only going to get better. They're only going to get better. They're going to settle in, hone this steel in, and they have one of the 3 or 4 best ball coaches in college football in a locker room that stays rich. Like, get real. They are only going to get better. And they could have opened this season up with Louisiana 7-11 if they wanted to. Like, a whole lot of schools started like that. They could have just said, we'll just go ahead and take who's that? Not past them, past the laundry mart, those guys. You want to come over and play a game on game? No. Florida State. It doesn't really matter what you think. There's going to be some kind of, there's some Willies and Joes in that locker room that's going to come in. There's going to be some Dariuses and some Tyrone. There's going to be some dudes coming out of that locker room. They went toe-to-toe. Details got them, not talent and not tactical work. Details got them. I think they're going to bounce right on back.
What's going on, guys? Rob Doster here, the founder of the Field of 68 and the Field of 12 Media Networks. I wanted to take a quick minute to let you guys know about an exciting new project that we have been working on for the last 3 months. The Almanac, an all-encompassing preview of the 2022-23 college basketball season. We spoke with every single Division I head coach to give you a robust and accurate preview for all 363 Division I college basketball teams. We have predictions for conference finishes for all 32 leagues. We have features on the best freshmen, the best big men, the breakout stars, the coaches on the hot seat, so much more. It is 600,000 words of sheer happiness for the college basketball fan in your life. The Almanac is going to be available for digital purchase on September 26th for just $19.99, but you can pre-order it today using the promo code HOOPS and save 20%. Just hit the link in the description below.